Well, at the end of the previous lesson, we'd left you at this point. We'd successfully drawn the footprint of the house. We'd put a construction line running from the middle of this line vertically up. We suggested that we could drag a tree symbol across and locate it on that line. Let's change that to, let's imagine that there is an existing tree on the site and we want to locate that tree accurately, and we're not too interested in that construction line, but we now want to accurately locate that tree. So I'll select the construction line, hit delete, or I could delete on the keyboard, or I could right click. But before we worry about that existing tree, let's do the side and back boundaries of the house. Let's imagine that we'd gone to the corner of the house and measured across to the fence, the existing fence. It measured 8 feet, and we did the same on the other side, and the distance was 4.5. We'd also measured from that perpendicular point up to the end, and we'd decided, or we had measured the length of that line to be 52 feet 6 inches. So we can easily now, with the skills we have, draw a line 52.5, and over on the right hand side we've got 73.5 for the length. We now need to draw in the back boundary, which clearly slopes. This time I'll use the line tool on the Draw 2D toolbar, pick line, and although earlier I had floated the toolbar for entity snaps, I've moved it off to the side, and I'm going to jump or snap to the end of that line, come across to the toolbar again and snap to the end of that one, right click to exit. Now those 3 lines constitute the boundaries of the rear of this property. So we can happily get rid of the little line that measured from the house corner to the boundary, and we could do the same over here. Remember, there are a number of ways to select entities. You could pick the piece of text and then pick the line itself, but do make sure that in the properties box the plus sign shows. So if I click on there, that means I can get both of those entities by clicking, and it just adds to the selection set. At this point, right click and pick erase, or hit the delete key on your keyboard. So we're now at the point that we've put in the boundaries of the site. Now let's imagine that we want to accurately locate that tree that's in the site. Happens to be on the central view. If this was a room with windows across there, let's imagine that the tree is a deciduous tree, and we're going to make it a feature in our design. So our next step is, how do we locate that accurately? Well, perhaps the simplest way to locate this tree on site in this base plan is to work from, say, 2 corners of the room that juts out here and swing a couple of string line arcs, and where they intersect, of course, that will be the location for the plant itself. I'll just select the symbol, move it off to the side for the moment. So I've drawn 2 arcs here, one with a radius of 35.9, 35 feet, nearly 36 feet, so 35.9. This one is 36 feet and a quarter of a decimal foot, so that's 3 inches. So there are 2 arcs, and where they intersect is the location for, let's say, the front of the trunk. So we can move it now, right click, pick move, locate our start point in the center of the symbol, and then we'll go to the intersection of those 2. So at that point we can remove the dimension, and we can click here and do that. Well, let's make it a little easier for you to locate the tree. We'll move the tree out of the way for the moment and pop it over there, and we'll measure the distance from the mid of this line to the intersection. So for that, here's the distance tool on the standard toolbar. From the mid of that line there to the intersection here is 34.19. Let's call it 34.2. And so let's draw a line now. Draw a line from the midpoint of there and just head up 34.2. That will be near enough for our purposes, and we can exit. We'll remove the two arcs, and now we're going to select the tree symbol, right click and move from its midpoint to the end of that line there, and then we can remove that, what was effectively a construction line. So our tree's been accurately located. In the real world, you will learn to swing arcs if you need to accurately locate. Of course, if you stand at that midpoint and look straight up, you can see that it's lined up reasonably well. You can just do as we did then and measure the distance.